He also rejected suggestions that Missouri lawmakers should reconsider whether the state should operate its own health insurance market. And he thinks the whole thing is in danger of collapsing. Well, if it's going to collapse, then it's inevitable. But before it collapses, why don't we help some of the people along the way that might be able to help us out? They're saying, well, this is where some of the areas succeeded, so why don't we revamp the law and go this route? Okay? Another thing that baffles my mind, though, the opposition to healthcare law, and yet so many people barely spoke up against wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, I'm not saying there wasn't opposition, but more people are pissed off about mandatory health care. I mean, if you want to lose everything you've ever worked for or take that chance, be my guest. But I'd rather have some system in place to give me some comfort. Because I tell you, when you're fighting for your life or you're wondering if you're going to be alive even next week, and I've been in that situation, or someone that you love, or you wonder if they're going to live through the day, if you're going to come home from school and find your dad dead. Yeah, I worried about that. I worried about that for years. Or to get a call while you're at work saying you need to come home. I mean, there's always that possibility with anyone. But when someone you love is faced with a terminal illness, or they're off on some drinking binge or drug-induced binge, it's hard for me to say, no, you don't need this. I cannot do that. That's not the human thing to do. We've got to do something, and it's got to be done now. Well, I'm going to get off my soapbox and in what I like to affectionately call my Bruce Williams segment on this program. Coming up in just a moment, I have a little more lighthearted parts of the program, such as news headlines, although some of these news headlines aren't exactly lighthearted. News of the weird later on, as well as the weather forecast, and things you need to know. That's coming up next, right after this quick break, so stick around, won't you? I know you will, and I know I will, because if I don't, who's going to run this show? Anyway, we'll be right back. You're listening to First Cup.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
I'd like to drop out of high school and get a meaningless job that makes me feel bad about myself.
I'd like to fall victim to the old boys network.
I don't want anybody to notice me.
I just want to fly under the radar.
I want to splatter against the glass ceiling.
I don't have an opinion.
I want to be a straight C student.
I'm going to be a biomedical engineer. I want to succumb to peer pressure all of my life.
I'm going to be a best-selling author and win the National Book Award.
I'm going to be a marine biologist.
Wait, I take mine back. I'm going to be a biomedical engineer.
I think I'll be the president.
I'm going to be Secretary of State.
World-class chef, right here.
Race car driver. Artist. Paleontologist.
Film director.
Surgeon. Teacher. Scientist. Olympian. I'm going to be the boss.
Today, about 1 in 5 Americans is living with a disability. Over 50 million people, including many of our friends and neighbors, teachers and co-workers, heroes and leaders. 20 years ago, the Americans with Disabilities Act guaranteed every person the right to live, work, and participate fully in the American experience. We've come a long way since then, and we are committed to making even more progress in the years ahead. Visit disability.gov to see how you can help.
Welcome back to Studio 26 on this Tuesday morning, and it's tonight. New season of NCIS, Season 11. Wow, that show has been on for a long time, but it is still fresh as ever. Well, what do you say we take a look at things you need to know on this Tuesday, shall we? As soon as I find the open here. we'll get right to it. It's as simple as this.
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Don't tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Don't tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I wanna really, really, really wanna zig a zig.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
And here are the things you need to know on this Tuesday so you won't look so stupid around the office water cooler. First of all, it is National Punctuation Day, so be extra careful about the punctuation you use, or more importantly, the punctuation you don't use. New on DVD today, let's see here, Iron Man 3, The Kings of Summer, Redemption, VHS 2, Modern Family, the complete 4th season, Hawaii Five-0, the 3rd season, Two Broke Girls, the complete 2nd season, Law & Order Special Victims Unit, the 14th year. Somebody always has to be different, don't they? The Neighbors, the complete 1st season, South Park, the 16th season, and finally 2.5 Men, the complete 10th season. Speaking of 2.5 Men, saw a promo for this new season that debuts on Thursday. I probably won't get to watch it since I'll be at work. Apparently, Charlie now has a long-lost lesbian daughter. And I'm thinking, okay, Ashton Kutcher didn't derail this show 2 years ago. Maybe this will be the nail in the coffin. I mean, for a long time, I admit I was not an Ashton Kutcher fan. But after what he said about work ethic and so forth a couple months ago, I have newfound respect for the guy. But his character, I don't like his character on the show. The premise is lost on me. Now, if they brought in this lesbian daughter a couple of years ago, it might have been like, what? But at least it would have fit in a little bit more with the show. At least it still would have been family. There's no reason for Alan still be living with Ashton Kutcher's character. But even though I did like his introduction, but it just went downhill fast after that. In News Attack this morning, a new survey says that your friends will avoid you if you constantly talk about your ex, or if you talk about the healthcare law. Spotting a bluffer. Here's the secret to knowing if the poker player across from you is bluffing. Check his arms. Yeah, check his arms. A psychology experiment at Tufts University discovered that players with good hands move their arms slowly, while bluffers move their arms more awkwardly. So apparently, forget the eyes, it's in the arms. I still say the eyes play a good role in it. I mean, can you imagine Kenny Rogers rewriting The Gambler now? You got to know when to fold, when to walk away, when to run. You know, what would he say about the eyes? When his arms are shifting, it's time to get to lifting your butt out of the chair. I mean, just doesn't have the same ring to it. Anyway, I'm sure I'm screwing up the lyrics. $3 billion to bring gear home from Afghanistan. Really? I'll be your delivery service. Federal government, you can pay me $3 billion. I'll bring home anything you want. Seems that a year from now, the Pentagon plans to have shipped home, sold, or scrapped virtually every weapon, truck, and rucksack it has sent to fight the war in Afghanistan. About 1.5 million pieces of equipment ranging from armored trucks and ammunition to radios and rifles remain for the war that started in 2001. Shipping the stuff home will cost a total of $3 billion. Good grief. I mean, I know we need to bring that equipment home, but some of it, was it necessary to send over there? I mean, I remember reading a few months ago about some general who was so enamored with himself that he had to have this fancy oak or a fancy cherry table. And cherry wood is not very cheap wood to begin with. But he wanted this old antique cherry table there in his office in Afghanistan. I'm thinking, you know what? Get your ass a $15 folding table from Walmart. You get a couple of them. You don't need all this stuff. You know, put that money into helping our troops out, not to fulfilling officers' egos. That $3 billion. Wow. And we're worried about Obamacare. Finally, Neil Patrick Harris says not hosting for a long time. Apparently he hosted the Emmy Awards for the second time on Sunday, but it now sounds like it could be his last time, at least for a while. Yesterday, the actor tweeted, "emceeing the Emmys was fun, but I'm sure glad it's over." Now he's looking forward to not hosting anything for a long time. So I'm sure he did a good job with it. I didn't get to see it, of course. I was at work. But I imagine that would be a bit stressful to do. Well, let's see here. Speaking of stressful things to do, what do you say we take a look at news today, okay? Paging Paul Harvey. Here he is.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
And the winner of last week's $400 million Powerball jackpot stepped forward anonymously yesterday to claim the prize. The Columbia, South Carolina area man apparently danced around his kitchen and told only his dog when he first found out. Though he is not publicly identifying himself, he did say he bought $20 worth of tickets at Murphy's USA service station while stopping to get hamburger buns. I bet it's hamburgers for everybody now. $400 million. Wow. It's a good thing he claimed that prize. I don't know if it's nationwide, but in Missouri, I think you now have 90 days to claim your prize, or 180. It used to be a year, but the Lottery Commission has really cracked down on it. 2 people held in Chicago Park shooting. 2 people are being held in connection with the shooting last Thursday in Chicago's Cordell Square Park that put a 3-year-old in intensive care. The 2 suspects are 22-year-old men. One is suspected of being the shooter, and the other is suspected of being a participant. 13 people were injured in the shooting, which used an assault-style rifle with a high-capacity magazine and was likely gang-related. And finally, illegal immigration rates are on the rise again. After slowing during the economic slump, the rate of Mexican immigrants illegally coming into the United States has increased once again, according to a new survey. The total number of immigrants living in the United States illegally rose from 11.3 million in 2009 to 11.7 million last year. Illegal immigrants from countries other than Mexico is also at an all-time high. That's a brief look at news headlines. We'll have more news from the CBS World News Desk coming up in just a few minutes. In the meantime, what do you say we take a look at that weather forecast, courtesy of the Weather Channel? And a reminder, you can always get the latest national weather forecast off of my website, tinyurl.com/Gunther'sHouse or tinyurl.com/GuntherMobile. Click on the weather button, and it'll take you directly to that page. Weather.com and tinyurl.com/Gunther'sHouse.
Winter weather warning right now. Here's a live look at the Fox 6 snow stick. This is out on the weather deck.
And take a look at the weather forecast for today, and here's what we see. Stormy southeast as northwest gets chilly. Starting off in the northeast, though, except for a few showers over northern Maine, the region will be dry today. Another chilly morning with some frost tonight over parts of northern Pennsylvania, upstate New York, northern New England, and the Berkshires. Dry conditions will remain right through the weekend with gradually moderating temperatures. Today's highs will be in the upper 40s and 50s across northern Maine, where clouds and showers will hang around. The rest of the region will see highs mainly from the mid-60s to the mid-70s. In the south, tropical moisture will keep much of Florida unsettled through tomorrow. The best chance for heavier rain will be across central sections of the state. Scattered showers and thunderstorms will move northward into the mid-south as well today. The next weather system will spread showers and a few thunderstorms from Kentucky down to the Gulf Coast. Highs will be in the 70s to near 80 today from Virginia to Alabama and well into the 80s west of the Mississippi River. Highs will be in the upper 80s to mid-90s across much of Texas. Much of Florida today will see highs in the mid-80s. Here in the Midwest, most of the region will encounter a dry day today. A few showers are possible across western Minnesota and Iowa, and over southern sections of Illinois and